Yeah, I mean, we do still creating clarity on it. He's going to go to the IL, which means we'll put Oviedo back in the on the ball club. Probably get to that in a moment, but yeah, he's got an oblique situation that trying to figure out the grade of impact to it. But clearly, he's going to put him on the IL, and he's going to spend some time on it. And it's going to be a while for it to heal. I'm sure a question will be how long. I wish I had a crystal ball for that. We don't have it, but it's not a minimal situation. It's a real you know strain tear. I don't know which exact grade you want to call it, but it's significant enough. Jack's going to miss some time, and it's going to be a while. And we're still in the exploratory stage to figure out how long.
And as you guys try to deal with this, you still have a bunch of games. I know there are some off days coming up. Right now, I guess you guys are just figuring out how you'll get through this with your starting rotation, or do you have options you're looking at right now?
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously trying to figure it out. I mean, I mentioned Oviedo's back. I'm not sure exactly how that'll work or how to plug in. Our rotation for Cincinnati will be Wayno, KK, to be determined, and Johnny Gant. Um, so, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fluid situation, Jim. I look at some of those questions are probably for more of the Mo than myself, but I mean, we're doing the best we can in a short term to figure out a solution like we always do, and work with the best we can with what we have. So I'm not sure what else to share with you on that regard.
Thank you.
AFJ.
Garrett Gold, St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
Shildt, or Shilty, Mike. I'm never sure what to call you in these Zooms, so I apologize.
Great. Yeah, Mike.
Mr. Shildt.
No, don't go there. Too formal. I don't have earned that.
How about Skip?
Skipper's fine. Mr. Shilt's like for, Mr. Kissel, Mr. Mutual. I'm not.
I see that.
Yeah.
I call Rick Hummel Mr. Hummel, so that makes sense.
There you go.
So red coats and Hall of Fame riders get misters. Got it.
I suppose so, yeah.
A general question, Mike. The test of depth here for your rotation at this point with Michaelis on the IR or IL. You have your opening day starter on the IL. You got some of the guys have had shorter starts than ideal. What are you facing as far as just a test of the innings you can cover?
Yeah, I mean that's what where do you get your quality innings from? It's a hybrid, right? You get it from your starter. We talked about that a little bit last night, how important that is. We've recognized and seen it on both ways in our season this year. And the ability to get deeper into games with quality innings allows, for a healthier, fresher, more successful bullpen. We recognize, that the quality innings just, they need to come from somewhere. We've got a lot of good options. We've got a lot of guys who are capable to provide them. They have provided them, and we need to continue to get as many quality innings as we can, and we need to continue to do our best to do our part from a defensive standpoint to reward and turn outs into outs. So it's a bigger approach, but we're capable of doing all of it. We've done it, and we'll continue to look to do it.
You have to. I think that's the right way to say this. Will you consider? That's a better way to ask this. Will you consider rethinking the roles of some of the guys currently in the bullpen? You have out there 3 guys who have started recently, or at least in their careers. How much will you look at turning to them to cover innings as a starter? Specifically like Alex, Genesis, Ponce de Leon.
Well, it's a big question. I don't, I got to get out for BP at some point.
I know it's a big moment. I mean, this is big news.
No, it is big news. It is, and I appreciate it. I'm not saying it shouldn't be asked, and I just trying to capture all of it the best I can. I mean, I think we've established. I'll take them one by one. You named them. With Alex, you Robin and Peter to pay Paul, right? I mean, you got a guy's clearly closed out games, an important role. So, and we've established the fact that. And he's on track, by the way, to get the innings that we'd like him to get to be able to start next year. So, we've rightfully declared and put Alex in the right spot for that to happen. Relative to Cabby, same thing. I mean, he's a guy that's helped us bring home a lot of our wins to this point. And he's not built up. I think that's ultimately the answer to the question, which I'll get to another part in a second. But, how are we going to build, even expect the ability to one of those guys up at the big league level, which means they have to go to the minor league level, and that's not the answer. And the big league level doesn't make any sense because who's going to fill in the innings behind them, to get built up for 3, 4, 5, 6 starts to, get that progression it takes to get to 85 pitches. And then again, who backfills their spots? I'll be glad to listen to an answer if you have it. I don't see it. And then you look to a Woody and a Ponce, that makes a little more sense. They've been built up, they've done it, they worked in spring training. So I can't rule out that in some version of that, even though similar thought process, hard to build a guy up to start at the big league level because that only impacts your bullpen even more. So we're exploring all options, and we're pretty good at making baseball decisions with what we have. And we'll continue to figure out what that looks like. It's a little premature to give you exactly what that looks like, but we started the process of digging. But looking at the back end of our bullpen guys to start is not anything where I think our head needs to be.
Were you asking rhetorically, or were you wondering where the source of my question was coming from?
I think, I'd like to hear it if you had it.
I mean, I understand that building up on the go is not ideal. And you guys have used a starter before, and an opener. That's the phrase, opener before. Yeah. So I get on there. But on the horizon, Andrew Miller is likely coming back. He's throwing today. You hope to get positive news, and he could be back. He could do Cabby's role, and so that's I guess why I asked about.
Yeah, I just thought, again, I guess I don't know how realistically you build a cabbie up in a major league setting in the middle of the season.
That's why I asked, because how creative you have to get, because this is the moment.
I mean, we can get creative; it just wouldn't work. I mean, it just it dismantle the rest of our bullpen. It just wouldn't. It wouldn't. Yeah. Wouldn't work. I mean, we could try it, but it would be, anything's a possibility, but it's not at the forefront of our thought process.
I figure in this exchange, I got to be the one that's good at asking questions. Not always.
Yeah. No, it's perfect. I understand the questions. I just give you the answers I can best give you.
Thanks.
Yep.
Jeff Jones, Belleville News Democrat.
Mike, maybe this falls into the category of Mo questions, but as you guys have sort of tried to work through this over the last day or so, is there 100% confidence on your end with respect to, obviously, to the guys you have in the organization, that you can cover the innings you need covered with the players you have in the organization now? Is that something that you're confident about at this moment?
I think you were right at the beginning, Bart. I mean, I'm confident with whatever we have. We work and manage and do the best job we possibly can. And I'm biased, but I feel like we've done a pretty good job with that. And that is our job, by the way. So, we do it. I've said it all along. My job is to manage what we have, make the very best out of what we have. And that's where my mental and physical energies go. So beyond that, if you're asking about depth of organization and moves and philosophy, you need to redirect that question. Because rightfully we have people that do their jobs, and I do my job, and we do them well and best we can, and we try to do them together, which we do.
The other one I wanted to ask you today, and this is obviously a divergence from the pitching, what's the deciding factor for Tommy at second and Rondon and right, as opposed to the reverse of that?
Well, Tommy leads our team in plus defensive runs saved, and is one of the better ones in Major League Baseball at second base. And I like the continuity of that. Johnny Gant's a ground ball guy, so Tommy's going to play second base. Rondon has also played the outfield, and we would like to see what it looks like. And you don't know unless you do it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Sarah Wexler, MLB.com.
Hey, Mike, got just a couple quick ones for you. Do you have any update on Harrison Bader's rehab?
Yeah, nothing too substantial. He's moving around, getting some throwing in, light throwing, light swings. some lighter baseball activities, moving his legs around, feeling good about that. I'll get more feedback how he recovers, which will dictate the volume of the next steps. But he's moving in a good direction, and I can't give you a timeline, but he's starting to progress his baseball activity, which is always positive.
Right. And do you have any word from Max Moroff's imaging test that he was going in for?
Have not heard on Max, but again, they're waiting to see how he recovers next couple of days. I do know there's a possibility how great that a surgery may be on the table, and they're waiting. Like all of us, we prefer not to have a surgery if we can go through corrective means otherwise. And the timeline for that, as far as him getting his work in and seeing how he recovers, is in the process that we can avoid that. And I don't know what that timetable looks like, but we're in that phase at the moment.
Katie Wu, The Athletic.
When it comes to Oviedo, this is a guy who has flashed tremendous stuff. He's shown that he can perform against big league hitters, but I can't imagine the lack of consistency between Memphis and St. Louis. I just found out this freeway is I-55. So that I just learned that today. Going up and down is easy for him. Is there hope or optimism in the organization that getting consistent starts and being in one place and establishing that routine can lead to a little better results overall?
Well, I understand that the continuity is super important, right, for player development. I've said that all along. Player continuity and consistency in messaging from level to level is super important, and something we've done in our organization very well for a long time. Because you think about, players do go from A ball to high A to double A, triple A, and you get it. And they, so internal communication is vital to player development, and most importantly is clarity to the player, right? What he's doing, why he's doing it, how he's doing it, more or less of communication is a big part of that with the player. I've always viewed that to be very important, as the player has a voice and ownership and is involved in the process of their development. It seems like common sense. Sometimes it's not so common, but the point I'm making is, in our regard, we have really good continuity with our AAA staff. Dernier Roscoe, our pitching coach in AAA, has been in, every big league camp that I've been a part of in this position, worked with Mad Dog closely. They spent a lot of time together in spring training. They spend a lot of time, as well as Brian Eversgerd, our bullpen coach, talks to Dernier, and Darwin Marrero, our Double-A pitching coach. So, I mean, they're together with us every day of the 41 days of spring training. They're involved in all of our meetings for this particular reason. So there's continuity. So while there's maybe in a different place, there's understanding of what's taking place with the player. So it's been a big part of, I think, the reason we've been successful from a player development standpoint is the continuity and communication. So I do think that's been very positive for guys, and I'm talking in general, but now specific to Ovi, I think that's, the messaging has been consistent. He's been involved with it. We've met with him a lot, like we do all of our players, to create clarity of what that looks like. And now it's about taking it and putting it into games and executing. And that's, there's some patience with that, which is why we have minor league systems. I'm not saying, Ovi's here, he's got big league talent. He's developing it a little bit on the big league level. That happens more and more frequently in our game. And our job is to help him get through that process. And we're doing everything we can, as he is. And a lot of it's not, it's not any big blocks he's got to overcome. It's just a little more comfortable, and it's a little more consistency in what he does. And so hopefully that answered your question.
It does. Thank you. It's super helpful, obviously not being there in the spring to know that all takes place. But I guess that's kind of a current theme that you've had with your younger guys this season, is going out there and knowing that there's going to be some growing pains and some adjustment periods, and figuring out what is a consistent result, what you can expect. And you can't really figure that out without having them not necessarily fail, but kind of learn the hard way in certain situations.
Hey, listen, growth comes through pain. No one wants to experience it. It's a reality in all walks of life, including pure competition, which is what we're in. It's just part of the process. Patience is waning. I don't want to get into societal because it's not my gig, right? But patience is required when you're dealing with development. You're dealing with people at the highest level, learning their craft. And the fact of the matter is, we're an organization that has high expectations, which we embrace. And people can only be so patient, trying to be, understand to be patient. We want results, and no one wants it more than we do. We do our best to do what we can to develop what we can, create the opportunities, because we know that if we provide the opportunities that we can find out and we can help guys grow. And but also that can be a challenging thing when a player doesn't have as much success as they'd like to have at the level, because confidence is real. And then we maybe have to do something else to give somebody else an opportunity. And then the player wants more, rightfully so. And that'd be great. We'd like to give it, but we can only provide so many opportunities and create that blend. And I think that's the key to it. I think we do it fairly well, and it's part of our jobs, and we accept that. And I'm not sure how. I can talk about this. It's a great topic, but it's real.